When we were doing our bond offering, one of our investment bankers came to us and said, we didn't realize this, but the cannabis sector is larger than the NFL and the MLB combined. And that's an interesting thing to think about, that's the size of the industry today. And we still have significant tailwind as each of these states comes online, and each of these states goes from medical to recreational, thus expanding the size of the market each time that happens. So it's interesting to understand the size of this market and where it could be just within our country alone. I think a lot of people talk about cannabis and oversupply, undersupply. And first of all, that's nuanced into each state. And I think that you have to break it out into more granular. Typically, you've got outdoor, which is generally going to be sold at wholesale and in bulk. And that product typically comes on harvest each year around October. And so you have this huge amount of supply, all comes on the market at once. And just by nature, that's going to be a cyclical market, and it's a very hard market to judge what the demand is going to be for each year. That is a completely separate and different level of product and market than what indoor would be going for. And there's two categories for indoor. You've got greenhouse, and then you have full indoor. And so you're moving to higher quality products as you go indoor. So if you're in the greenhouse, then you're going to have a more sustainable, market throughout the course of the year, but you still have to deal with the weather. And you typically are losing 1% loss in yield for any loss, 1% loss in light. And then you have the highest level in a perpetual harvest, no matter what the weather is, and that's indoor. And so those products are competing at different levels, and somebody that's growing indoor is most likely selling some portion of that into their own brand. And so they're not selling every single ounce at a wholesale price at the bulk. They're selling it by the ounce into a product. And that, even though the bulk price might be $1,200 to $1,400, the by product pound price might be $2,000, $2,500. And so this is the things that I think most retail investors don't understand. So part of the federal landscape, I think that a lot of people don't really recognize is that there's a prohibition on cannabis at the federal level. And so that prohibition is what's making cannabis illegal. If you end the prohibition at the federal level, thus by default, cannabis is now not illegal. And why it's important to understand this distinction is that just because you end the prohibition doesn't make cannabis federally legal across the country. You still have states' rights that you have to deal with. So each state still has their own cannabis licenses and policies. And so by ending prohibition doesn't automatically change the landscape of the country. It just makes it so that it's not federally illegal. And I think this is a really important distinction to make. Unless you had a case or legislation that went through and passed that forced cannabis to be legal in all 50 states, I just don't see that happening. I see the more likely path is that the prohibition would be ended, and then it's going to follow the states' rights and what's going to happen from there.